Welcome back to another video, everyone. So the first ever video that I made on this channel was my top 5 hardest oxide time trials video. And a lot of you guys have asked me to do the same thing for the recently added Velo time trials. Originally, I wasn't planning on doing this video because I just thought that there would be no change to the list. Nothing changed about the tracks, I just have to do them even faster this time. So surely nothing would be different, but to my surprise, this list is completely different to the one in that video. Some of the tracks from that list I was able to do easily this time, but in return, some of the tracks that didn't really cause any problems back then caused me a lot of problems this time. Let's get into the list and we'll compare them at the end. Number 5, Sewer Speedway. Now Sewer Speedway was on my Oxide Ghost list, but it was at number 1. I've definitely improved on Sewer Speedway since then, although I'd say it still took me about 10, 12, maybe 15 attempts. Sewer Speedway was in part 1 of my Velo video, so I don't know the exact amount of attempts it took me, unlike the other tracks. But yeah, I know it was quite a few, for 2 reasons. The shortcut and the rolling barrels. I have more of a strategy of doing the shortcut now. Instead of going at it from the side, just go at it straight on, and that seems to have a better success rate. But the barrels, my strategy for those is to just pray. I'm getting better at this track, but as of right now, it's still on the list. Hopefully this time next month, when I make this video for the Beanox trials, it won't be on the list anymore. Moving on to number 4, Hot Air Skyway. This one took 15 attempts. I had issues with this one for 2 reasons mainly. The spiral bit at the beginning. I think I just hate spirals. It's just hard to go around it and keep your speed, let alone keep Blue Flame. Although you don't need to keep your Blue Flame at this bit for the Ghost, but still. The main problem I had though was with the shortcut at the end of the track. I either went straight over it and fell off, I either didn't go far enough so I just hit the barrier, and sometimes I was right in between the two and landed on the barrier, which it sends you back if you do that. Yeah, I know U-turning, air braking, I was doing that. I do it on other tracks perfectly fine, but I just couldn't do this shortcut consistently. When I eventually figure it out, then maybe this track wouldn't be on the list. But then again, you could say that for all of them. This one was especially annoying though, because the shortcut is at the very end of the track, so you have to play the whole thing just to get to it and try it again. Number 3, Cortex Castle. I didn't spend as much time on this one, it only took me 8 attempts. But I'm placing it lower on the list because I just can't drive on this track. At least with Hot Air Skyway, I can actually drift around pretty much the whole thing. With Cortex Castle, I don't think I've ever managed to keep Blue Flame past this bit here. Again, I know how to U-turn, but this beginning bit, there's like no time to drift at all. And by the time I can start drifting again, like when I get over that ramp near the boost pad, it's too late. The reserves are all gone. You have to watch out for that spider that drops down in the middle. I never actually hit the spider, I just hit the wall when I try to go around it. If I don't smash into the wall there, then I'll just smash into another corner. It's just such an awkward track. Thankfully, Velo loses Blue Flame at that bit too, so you aren't forced to keep it. Although when the dev times come out, you'll probably have to keep it for the whole race. You know, now that I think about it, this list is more like a hardest tracks to keep your speed on. But that's really what it comes down to. If you can keep your flame, then you'll likely run into no issues. Number 2, Out of Time. Now, some of you are probably surprised to see this at number 2 and not number 1, considering it took me 78 attempts. And it's definitely the track that made me feel the most anger, especially after what happened on attempt 76, where I'll just let you see it.
Emperor Velo the 26th, ruler of the galaxy.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Yeah, that didn't feel too good. I'll get to why it's number 2 soon, because it spoils number 1. Out of Time is a very difficult track to keep your fire on, because there's so much that you can lose it on. Tiny rocks that stick out on multiple parts of the track that you have to go through. Weird invisible collision on the shortcut that makes you lose your fire. Where you're going around the clock, that can be quite challenging to, you know, keep your speed on. There's sometimes this bullshit invisible wall thing on the shortcut that you can hit. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the fence shortcut. I don't like this shortcut. It's just a very narrow track for the most part. Again, Velo loses his Blue Flame on this, yet it still took me 78 attempts. As of right now, I'm more confident with my ability of keeping Blue Flame. I have some sort of strategy that if I'm able to master, it should be fairly consistent. Unlike the next track on the list, Deep Sea Driving, number 1. I just barely clutched this on my 9th attempt, but the reason it's number 1 is because of the obstacles, the blades. This is it. This is why it's at number 1. They're completely fucking random, kind of. I guess you could memorize the cycle of them, but I'm more focused on not losing my blue flame than thinking of where they'll be on the next lap. The one at the beginning can sometimes be a problem, but it's really the ones in the tunnel. Not only are the physics really weird in here, and they can sometimes send you up the side of it and then turn backwards, but you're going so fast that you barely have any time to react, so you don't know which way to go. Oh, and then there's the double blade at the very end. Fuck this whole thing. You get through one of them. Oops, sorry, there's another one. Watching speedrunners go through this whole track at max speed without hitting any of the fans is one of the most satisfying things in the entire world. Again, Velo messes up on this track too. I think he hits one of the fans or something, but still, I barely clutched that win. If I failed it, who knows how long it would have actually taken me. That's the only reason deep sea driving is at number 1, because of the fans. That's it. At least with Out of Time, if you figure out a way to keep your blue flame, you know, like a certain path that you can take and get better at least it's consistent, you know, there's not really any obstacles on that track, it's really just about your driving. Originally, I didn't like the decision they made of taking the giant worm things that eat you on Out of Time. Don't know why they removed them, to be honest, but I'm glad that they fucking did when it came to this time trial. Just would have made it even worse. My only tip for deep sea driving will be to not drift in the tunnel. It never results in anything good happening. Keep it nice and simple and just focus on the fans. And yeah, they were the 5 tracks that I struggled with the most. I have 2 honorable mentions though, Clockwork Wumpa and Papu's Pyramid. This Velo time trial made me realize how much I suck at this track. I just can't keep my blue flame around the spiral. It's not so much about going up it, it's the bit at the end. I always hit a wall or hit the corner or something. And Velo has a pretty good time on this track, so it was difficult for me to stay ahead or even catch up. The plants on this track too, not much of a problem, but they'll remind you that they exist from time to time. And Clockwork Wumpa, while I did have to try this one multiple times, I figured out a consistent way of doing it. This one simple change improved my time on this track so much. Instead of jumping up this ramp, you drift around it instead. It makes maintaining blue flame around this whole track so much easier. It's pretty consistent. I played a game online and I also went back to the track to just test it. Of course, there's times where you'll hit the side or something, but this really saved Clockwork Wumpa from being on the list. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. Keep in mind that this is a personal list, tracks that I had issues with, so let me know down below if you agree with my list or comment your own list. We all struggle with different tracks. I know a lot of people have issues with Blizzard Bluff. As of right now, I can do that fence shortcut most of the time, so Blizzard Bluff was quite easy. But then there's people who find Hot Air Skyway easy because they can do the shortcut, which I can't do. It's different for everyone, so let me know down below which tracks you had issues with. That being said, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Definitely subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you all in my next video.